Alrighty.
Why?
Why are you looking nervous?
I mean, I'm a little nervous, but I'll loosen up. You know.
Loosen up.
Yeah.
Well, hey y'all, welcome to Social Hour with Ash. I could not be more pleased to be sitting here with one of my sister friends, Dr. Kamara Taylor. Say hi. Kim.
Hey guys.
I call her Cam for short, or I don't know. It may be Dr. Taylor for those that she don't know. I don't know. Depends on how acquainted you are with her. But I couldn't be more excited to be going on this journey. As you all know, I said that I would be bringing friends along this journey with me. And for sure, friends, I have more friends that I speak to offline than online, but I'm grateful to bring the conversation online today. We spend a lot of time talking about our journeys, talking about our story, talking about faith, talking about God, talking about life, talking about this, and talking about that. But as we know, this is the journey of overcoming to become. And this is a They Speak moment. And what we're going to be doing in the next handful of weeks is just launching an integration series. And this is something that will carry forward. I have always said, we are overcoming to become. And here's the thing, as long as you're alive, you're never going to stop overcoming. As long as you're alive, you should never be choosing to stop becoming. And we're in a space where we're willing to just bring those lessons forward. And so I want to be formal really quickly and actually read the intro. So welcome to the integration series here on Social Hour with Ash, where we slow down and we have honest conversations about life, seasons, the moments that shape us and ultimately help us become who we are today. Integration is about taking everything that we have lived through the lessons, the challenges, the victories, and allowing it to form wisdom instead of just memories. And I know that myself, yourself, and those that are watching that will continue to see this after it airs, I just want you guys to just take moments and take honest reflections and assessments of your life. You may not have had the same experiences, but I do believe that lessons are always transferable and that you could take the mindset or the heart set that was applied and learn from it. And so today we're both going to be exchanging and dialogue and conversation. And we both have questions that we're going to be asking each other. But guess what? We don't know the questions.
We don't know the questions, guys.
And we said we were open books. We're going to see.
We're going to see how open we are.
I don't have an answer for that, Kim. What were you thinking? Did you talk to God? But at any rate, I believe I introduced you, but Dr. Kamara Taylor, she is a neuropsychologist. Yes. Tell us what that is exactly.
Well, that means I literally study the brain, right? Mm-hmm. Like all of my research is based off of the impact of brain and behavior, and in regards to like brain trauma or even trauma, internal trauma from childhood that impacts that frontal lobe. So that's what I do in my real life.
In your real
life.
Right?
In my real life, I look at the impact of the brain, the impact of trauma to the brain, and how the causation of that, how it impacts behavior, how it impacts like interactions right now, right? I'm trying not to overthink the
why
moment.
I didn't give you questions.
Yeah, overthink the moment. But yeah, so that's what I do. I've taken the space of going from clinical to higher ed and translating that into teaching about the brain. But as a neuropsychologist, I just teach about the brain. I look at the brain MRIs for any brain damage. I try to correlate that with CTE, any trauma that has happened. So yeah.
Big stuff, man.
Big stuff, I guess.
I got some dope friends, some very intelligent people. So I do have wise counsel for those that wonder. I have wise counsel around me, for real. So I'm gonna dive right into this. When you think about integration, what part of your story makes the most sense now that it didn't make sense then?
Integration. The word of integration is self, right? I think with me coming from a childhood, growing up in the inner city of Chicago and coming from a childhood that was kind of presented itself invoked in poverty, right? The first integrative experiences with me is when I got to college and didn't know that I grew up poor, right? Because I was surrounded by a lot of love. So I didn't even know economically that there was a lack. right? You know,
you had never seen anything different.
I had never seen anything
You had never been
differently.
exposed. Your perspective was what it was shaped by.
Yeah, my perspective was that I was rich. I don't know about anyone else in my hood, but like with me, like but integrating from my community, going away to college and being in I went to predominantly white institutions, right? So being in PWIs, I'm like, wait, they have trust funds? Like, you know, wait a minute, you guys don't have to work on campus to eat, you know, and it was just not the economics, it was the mindset. So truly integrated into thinking like, okay, how do I still authentically be me and not forget who I am while integrating into this environment that causes me to show up differently, right? So I think that was my first introduction of integration. And I think it really hit me the first time. I was talking to a roommate of mine and she was asking about my parents, like, whether they go to college. I'm like, my mom had me at 14, right? I'm a first generational high school graduate, right? And being comfortable enough to sit in that space and speak on that as an authentic person, I think that started my journey of understanding that I didn't have to truly integrate into environments, that I can mold myself to be in those spaces, but still show up as who I am, right? Not be ashamed of my story. I think when I typically hear the word integration, I hear a lot the feeling inside of me is like, I have to change, right? I have to change who I am. I have to change me or alter who I am to fit in, right? But I believe that I learned how to understand that I can be who exactly I am, not have to change, but like kind of navigate in those spaces. So yeah, I think like the first even introduction of integration was my college experience. And I was like, wait a minute, you know, like, you know, they was like, oh, I'm a second generational college graduate of UW, like, you know, and I'm like, well, I'm proud to say that once I walk across this stage, my family walks with me, right? You know, I'm bringing ancestors with me, right? I was going to say,
a whole trajectory changed and shifted for your family. Yeah.
So, I, you know, when I hear integrate, even just the word, I think sometimes that word is weaponized, right?
Unpack that.
Yeah. I think the ideology has been like just placed on us to feel like we have to integrate to become, right? And I feel like with doing so, we lose a lot of who we are with trying to become, right? I think it's weaponized with us in our community to say, oh, because I remember the first time I graduated with my undergrad, and my cousin, who I love so dearly, she's still like my favorite cousin, even after this conversation. And she was like, you know,
her. I don't know what she's about to say.
She said, you're not Black anymore, right? You know, and I'll never forget this. Probably date my age, but I went and I brought Timberlands, right? I brought $400 pair of jeans that was hood popular in that moment. That was rocking RR, rocking Robbins, and rocking some Revival, rocking Revival. That's the jeans that were, and I authentically tried to integrate back into an environment, right? That harmful word again, integrate, right? I try to integrate back to being Black, right? Because my authenticity or my Blackness for my cousin then was connected with my education.
Wow.
Right? And now
so that was their own stigma.
That was own stigma.
And their own perception of what education actually looks like,
it turned
sounds
me white.
Like, and feels like.
Yes, it turned me white. Right.
Wow.
It turned me white, you know. So that was just my undergrad. So imagine when I got to my Ph.D., I just really wasn't. I no longer can integrate Black.
Then, huh? And no offense to any community, like That's interesting though.
Yeah. So when I hear the word integration, when I hear the word integrate, oftentimes to me, it's a word that's used to diminish oftentimes, right? I know on the surface it's like, let's integrate, let's come together, it the noun, pronoun, and adjective of it in the dictionary means something different than how it's utilized in a vernacular, right? How it's utilized with our thinking. So yeah, I think that I don't integrate well.
You can turn this whole conversation around. Like, I'm just like, my whole perspective has been shifted though too, because a lot of times we are trying to integrate. I think the way that I was seeing it for myself was all of these processes of my life, and how do I allow those to take form and shape of who I'm becoming. But then integration has a negative connotation, and it has a backhand to it that I didn't even see. And so having this conversation with you right now.
Yeah. So I think it can, if someone else was sitting in this chair, it was like, oh, I integrated very well, right?
Yeah.
But to me, hearing the word really puts me in a space.
I heard alter.
I heard alter.
You heard like, you're not like us.
Exactly. Yeah.
Why would you want to be on the other side?
Exactly. And that was from my own community, but then in the other community is like, why don't you leave that side behind and be exactly like us?
So where was your middle ground for you in this process of integrating? Like, where did you find your balance?
I've always been a rebel. If everyone else is wearing black,
I do call you my wild child.
If everyone else is wearing black, if the memo says we are all in all black, I'm wearing gray, right? And I'm not wearing gray because I didn't get the memo. I'm wearing gray because I'm defiant to whatever that is. I'm wearing gray, right? So I think
this is why we're friends,
right? Exactly. That's my sister friends.
Yes.
I really firmly believe that like that's the gift that God has given me, right? While others might see it as rebellion, God sees it as standing still in my spirit, right? Not being able to be altered so easily, changed. I'm not saying that there hasn't been times where my mind hasn't been altered or I fell into these spaces, but for the most part, I think when God was molding me out in my mother's womb, when he knew my name, right, he was like,
he dashed it up a little bit.
He was like, that's not just seasoning salt, right? That's adobe. We ain't just gonna make her lemon pepper, right?
You a season all. You a 21 season.
Let me do this. And I feel like that has been a blessing and a curse for me. Right. So when I walk into spaces and I'm not willing to shift and change how they want me to, then I become the enemy. Right. When I walk into spaces and I'm already shifting how God is molding me to be, I become a threat. Right. And so I'm learning in my own space, like, yes, this has been good for me. Right. This has sheltered me from being in rooms where people are doing cocaine. And I'm like, what's wrong with y'all? Y'all not happy? This is, and not for anyone that does cocaine. I'm not judging, right? That you do what you do, right? But I'm
praying
saying,
for your deliverance.
Right?
That's for real.
I'm saying this is what have sheltered and shielded me for not to try to integrate and be anyone else but who God called me to be, right? Even in those moments when I didn't know who I was, God already knew who I was, and so I was very shielded from so many things. And for me, that's a blessing, right? When people say, hey, what stopped you from doing this? It was God covering me the entire time, right? Because the human version of me, right, probably would have been naive enough to try to say, hey, in order to get this job, in order to do this, been in those rooms with Diddy, no offense to Diddy, right? But been in those rooms where I shouldn't have been in, right? But that grace that like really set over my life in those spaces where we call maybe not integrating the way that people wanted me to was a covering.
Yeah.
Right?
It was a shield.
And so in my rebellion, there's some shielding.
It's a hedge of protection.
Yes. In my rebellion, there's some covering.
Yeah.
Right? The fact that I'm different, right? The fact that like when all my friends was like, hey, you're not gonna do this. This is how you get this internship. I'm like, if it's for me, God gonna bless me with it.
That's true.
You know, and that's before I even believed that God will bless me with it, right?
Yeah.
That was my surface. That was my surface introduction of faith, right? So I just, you know, I think my rebellion, that grace of my rebellion is what allowed me the opportunity to not fall into those spaces, right? To be who I am, to stay who I am, right? For a doctor to be young, black, look like this, right? To show up in those spaces, you know, before tattoos was cool, to still like do my expression of art the way I felt it, but still be intelligent enough to be in the same rooms, right? To be called in the same spaces, to still be the only black woman in a Ph.D. program, to be the only, like, you know, it's those things. And so I just feel like, you know, there's some favor in rebellion.
There is some favor in rebellion. I like that. I love the ability not to code switch or to integrate based upon other people's expectations or their limitations.
Yeah, definitely. And that's what's been my grace. And like I tell people a lot of times,
grace to rebel.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's real.
I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna probably preach that somewhere.
You should.
You might see it in the She Speaks.
Hey, you know, I'm ready for it. It's all gifts. It's all gifts, Queen. We just sharing.
What's your question?
Oh, I have a good question. I don't know about this question yet. I don't know if I should start with this one.
Lord guide her.
Yeah, Lord guide me. I think I'm gonna work backwards with my questions now. Backwards with my questions. Okay. Me knowing you, or just trying not to summarize the questions around you, but I thought starting with this one would be kind of good. If you think God can align you with anyone in the Bible, who do you think it would be and why?
Ooh. Off the top of my head, and I've actually had this prophetically told to me, but I actually see it happening in this stage and age. So it's interesting. I had this prophecy that was given to me or spoken over my life like in 2010.
Yeah.
So it's like 16 years ago.
Yeah.
And now, let's just say 16 years later, I'm 38 and I've just been seeing the hand of God. But I would say Deborah. She was a judge, a ruler, but she was also prophetic. And people sought out her wisdom. They needed her judgment. They needed her guidance. They needed her rulership. They also needed her protection in certain ways. When laws are being decreed, when things are shifting and shaping, someone has to approve or deny, but also you need that prophetic insight. So I would quantify myself as, and you can say yes or no, like the grounded friend.
Okay.
Like people come to me for wisdom. They're seeking guidance in life. And I believe that within my various different friend groups, which is very broad, very eclectic, like I have friends from all over the place in all different walks of life, all demographics, different ethnicities. And the one thing that I can say is that people know me to be that faith friend, which to me, I quantify it as the wisdom fields. Like with the time that I spend in my word and in prayer, and you know this, like God will place something on my heart and I'm like, oh, ba, 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 ba.
Right.
Or people that need guidance. Hey, I've been thinking about this, or I've been dealing with this. And I think it would be Deborah. But also within the story of Deborah, when I did the interview with Apostle Ezrion Jackson, like October of last year, she and I were having a conversation offline. And then she mentioned this character in the Bible that I had never heard, which was Jael. And I was like, who is that?
Jael?
Who is Jael? And basically Jael in the book of Judges, that's where you can read about the story of Deborah. Which is Deborah or Deborah. But Jael was the one where I believe it was Deborah that had the dream about killing of the people that were coming in to like take possession of the land. But Jael was the one who gave the people, let's just say the other camp, a place to sleep. But she ended up killing them. Like, but you got to think about it.
Wow.
How could you create that much safety for your enemy to lay his head, and then think of a woman having that much power to kill her enemy with a nail peg?
Ooh.
So you got to think like you're some type of like secret top flight security of the world,
right?
So where you create that much safety to where even the enemy himself thought that I could be safe in a place that I don't even have possession over.
Now that's a word right there.
Seriously. I don't know how that all came out, but I think it would be Deborah, but then Jael, because we are called to cut the heads of our enemies. Here's the thing: you got to think about the story with David and Goliath. The stone sedated Goliath, but David had to go and cut off his head.
Yeah.
And so, how do you get into a place in a space where I don't just want my enemies to be sedated.
Right.
I need to cut off the head.
Right.
Because here's the thing, I'm speaking here soon, and God gave me this encounter with Genesis 3:15, and understanding the story about the serpent. Bruised heels still crush serpents' heads. And even though the serpent is still after you, you got to be a JL to understand. I want you to think that you're safe enough until I throw that nail through your head.
Right.
And there are things in today's time that we have to conquer. You were just speaking about your family lineage and the morality of that, which is kind of one of the questions. But you were talking about at 14, your mother had you. So I'm assuming your mom never graduated high school.
My mother never graduated high school at all. She had me as a freshman.
As a freshman in high school.
She was a baby.
She was a baby having a baby.
Yeah.
And so you got to think about the Goliaths in your life that you've had to slay.
Yeah.
You may not have had a Deborah in your life that's going to guide you.
Right.
You are now that Deborah for your family.
Right.
You have that wisdom, and you don't just have the wisdom of just life experiences. You've now educated yourself to a level that's far. Now there's a new pinnacle that's set for your family.
Right.
And maybe I just Deborah'd you and giving you insight. That's what I mean by a Deborah.
Yeah.
So does that
I didn't even know anything about Deborah. All right. You know I don't know the Bible.
I'm
For all my viewers, I do not know the Bible like that. I just seek counsel when God give me a word, right? Like I don't know the Bible though, but I just learned something about Deborah. Now I'm gonna go read about her.
Yeah.
Now I'm even more curious about JL.
Yeah.
Right? You know?
She had a small little snippet, but I think it's in between those two. And here's the other thing. I think that I'm also Joseph. I know that I'm Joseph. I'm the dreamer, and I've learned how to keep my things to myself. But then I'm also known, like, I forget who the weeping prophets are. I think that we need to really do a proper evaluation and an assessment of the word of God and all the major and the minor prophets to see what are our personality types.
Yeah.
Because for me to just say I'm Deborah, but what about all the other people that God used? And sometimes I'm like a Jonah. I don't want to do what you called me to do.
Right.
But I'm going to do it anyway.
I'm going to do it anyway.
So it could
do
be
it anyway.
Yeah. You going to swallow me up in the belly of a bell? God, free me. Right. Okay. I will do what you say do.
It. Just free me.
Yeah. But I think not just in a prophetic sense, I see myself in a lot of the word, and it's one of my favorite things to I literally sit here in my house and I just pick the word apart and I just ask questions, and I'm like weeping and I'm crying because once you get that revelation, you're like, oh,
right, man.
So I think I identify with a lot of them. Definitely a Jonah, definitely a Gideon. We all run from time to time.
Yeah.
You know, we try not to be Mary, but sometimes we're Martha or vice versa.
Right.
So hopefully that answers the question without going on a tangent.
No, I love it because it like when you were sitting there speaking, I'm like, wait a minute, I don't know a lot about the Bible, but the only person I know that I am is David.
And you always say that.
Because I am, right? I firmly believe my spirit is David, right? You know, I know that I'm a heathen, but God loves me.
Loves you to death.
God loves me.
Death, into new life.
I mean, keep creating loving me, right? You know, and I think because of my writing, my poetry, my lyrics when I write, you know, my love songs is first a love song to God.
Absolutely.
Right? You know, and so I feel that, but I was curious to know who you were gonna say. That was
who did you think I was gonna say, or who came to mind for you?
From the people that I know.
Yeah.
The people that I know. Esther.
Oh, I've been told Esther though too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have definitely went with Esther first. You
know what? It's so funny because I didn't even talk about how we know each other, but we are part of the Black Joy Choir. Shout out to BJP and the choir. We love y'all. But that Sunday when we sang, and I know that I got named as co-chaplain this year, and that's great and all. But standing there on that stage in that moment with the crowds and crowds and crowds of people, my spirit really began to weep. Because when you think about Esther, she saved a whole generation. And I'm standing on that stage worshiping, and it all felt sounded like we were just angels singing to God, because we were.
Yeah.
But then I'm weeping internally because I'm like, I'm also looking at a generation that may not want to know him. How do I get the message to him, to them, about who he is?
Yeah.
And I think it's in moments like that. Like, I was talking to my dad like last Sunday about that, and I was like, my heart grieves for this generation, my generation, our generation, and for the generations of past, like my grandparents. Like, I come from a very rooted family in Christian faith and really talk like in the Word of God, prophetic, like all those things. I'm like, how do I transcend and teach them what I know? Well, I'm doing it now in my own way in the 21st century.
Exactly.
So when you say Esther, I receive that too, because I've had that spoken over my life as well.
Yeah,
Talking about you don't know the Bible, but you knew Esther outside of David.
I know a couple of people now.
It's okay. You know something. You know more than most.
At least 5.
At least 5. 5 is good.
At least I didn't say you was what's his name to cut off the ear.
I know you're talking about Peter.
Peter. At least I didn't say you was Peter.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean,
you can be.
I can.
Might have some former life.
We got some Peters. Okay, so you've lived in awareness of morality in a very personal way. How has that awareness shaped the way you live, believe, and steward life now?
Awareness of morality, and how has it shaped? I would say that my awareness of morality was entrenched in me early on, right? Like my parents, both of my parents were great humans, right? And it's not just because they're no longer alive that they were great humans. They just live by what they said, right? They word literally was their bond, but not only their word was their bond, but their actions was pure, right? And even though I didn't grow up like in church, and the black way, apostolic or Baptist church, growing up, my grandmother was a part of church, but she never forced that church on us. We grew up Catholic and going to Catholic school and going to mass and things of that nature. But what my grandmother, shout out to Heavenly Johnny May, right? My mom's mom, what she really imparted on me and my siblings was service, right? So even though she didn't have us go to church with her, right? We didn't have to go to church because she kind of respected my parents and their autonomy about us. Every Saturday we would go and volunteer and we would serve. We would serve the homeless, right? We would serve food, right? You know what I'm saying? We would serve at the church with the different shelters and clothing and things of that nature. But when it came to, I'm saying about the service because it was the foundation of my morality, right? Of showing up authentically, of not shifting, right? Understanding that it's bigger than me, right? And I don't know if there was my grandmother lesson for us, right, to teach us our morals through service, right? I don't know if that was her intention or her intentionality, but what I found out was that was my moral compass, right? When I'm thinking about doing the wrong thing, I think about others first, right? And so like serving, right, that portion of serving and what she had us doing serving made me unconsciously think about others first, right? I wanted to be outside on Saturday playing basketball, right? In my head, before the WNBA was the WNBA, I could get a scholarship, right? I wanted to be making music. I wanted to be doing all those things, but all of that took a backseat to first putting others first, right? And so when it comes to my moral compass, I'm human. I want to make bad decisions all the time, right? I'm like, everybody else getting a PPP loan, why can't I? Right? Everybody else doing this, why can't I? I mean, because we being authentic and real, right?
No, seriously.
This is how I want to live, right? But I think what was instilled in me was, how does it impact others?
Right.
And that's what kind of shapes my morality, right? My family didn't have a lot, but they had a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
They had a lot of love, right?
Yeah.
They had a lot of humbleness. They had a lot of joy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that going back to even the first question, that's the reason why I didn't know I was poor,
Mm-hmm.
right? I didn't even know I was living in poverty because what was surrounded by me was so unsumable in love and kindness and joy, right? That I thought everybody got this, right? It's not to now that I'm as an adult and I speak with my sisters and we either really weird. I can't believe that we grew up like this, right? What's wrong with us? Because even when we want to do the wrong thing, the right thing is always in the inside of us, right? I was speaking on a situation with an employment situation, and I found out like the inverse happened to another person that caused harm to me, and anybody else would have been celebrating, right? But the initial first thing I did, like the human side of me was like, God be right on time. Like, but the spiritual side of me was like, that person also, even though they didn't have any compassion for me, that person also had family, also have bills, also have things. So I think just that going back to that service, that's still the service part of me that my grandmother instilled in me. Like, you know what? Consider others, even if they don't consider you, right? Consider others, even if they don't consider you. And I try to do that as much as I can in my life. Even the moments that I know that I failed with that, I always go back to like, oh, this doesn't feel good, right? Before I make a decision, I'm like, man, this doesn't feel good. Like, I know I want to be this guy. I know I want to be this person. This doesn't feel good though, right? So I think that unintentionally, my moral compass didn't come from anything that I've done. It came from what was poured into me early on.
Planted seeds.
Yeah, early on. Like I'm the ripe fruit that's benefiting all the seeds that was planted by my mom, by my grandmother, by my dad, right? It wasn't until my parents was a lot deceased that I found out it was people coming up to me and my sisters like, did you know your mom, we had no money, your mom paid for all our prom? No wonder I ain't get them Jordans I want. You around here paying for proms, Minnie? Like you know, or your dad, he fixed my car so I can get back and forth to work, and I didn't have any money to pay him. He never took anything. Like, wow. Right? Like they say that things are not genetic predisposed, or you're not genetically predisposed, but I am convinced that somewhere in us we're passing down things genetically. We are predisposed to our sense of morality, right? Our sense of kindness, our sense of, it's an environment too, right? But I just gotta believe that it's something that's already in us. Yeah. Right? It's already in us. So it didn't come from me. It didn't. It came from what was planted in me. Yeah.
I want to put this. This question actually isn't listed, but you talked about being rooted in love, and having parents that were good people. Yeah. And you joke about like not knowing the word, but you really do know more than what you think you know. Y'all need to tap in. I'm gonna like put a plug. She does a Ratchet but Righteous Bible study.
I don't know the word.
Every single Monday. And when I tell you, God shows up and shows out through her as a vessel, as a friend. Like, I'm humbled because I'm being fed spiritually by her. But I want you talk about your faith and like your introduction to God, because being rooted Catholic is completely different. Than like how you're speaking, decreeing, declaring, and praying the way that you do today. And like Kim is the friend that like, she's like the glue in the friendship. Like, she keeps everybody together. Like, we're just, not that I'm wrangling, I'm wild. I'm just like in my space. Right.
Everybody just in my space.
But talk about your introduction and like you growing in this and in your relationship with God.
Well, I was called. I was called. I grew up Catholic. Free wine. It was free wine plugs for the church. You know, for mass. You know, free wine plug. I got to put the plugs out there, right?
Cam gonna be Cam.
That's what you asked for, right? That's what you
asked for. I want you to 100%.
Yeah. So my relationship with God doesn't look like most people's relationship with God in a Black community oftentimes, right? And not just because of my faith in Catholicism, right? Not just because of growing up that way, but I think just the the ideology of God, right? I grew up knowing that God was God, right? Knowing that Jesus was Jesus, right? The indoctrine of Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, right? But I knew more about the saints than I knew about Jesus, right? I knew more about the Immaculate Mother Mary than I did about Jesus, right? So I think my reintroduction and my introduction for a long time after my parents passed away, I didn't believe in God. I mean, I'm being honest. Like, not that I didn't think that God existed, but I had a just a very segregated relationship with God, right? You know, I'm like, you let my parents die, right? You know, like, why would you do this, right? I thought you was loving, all knowing, all telling. You know, how could you do this, right? But it wasn't until I was in a position where my life almost got taken that I, for some reason, I could have said anything. I could have been like, yeah, great, good. I wasn't not that happy anyways, right? I could have did all those things, but for some reason, once I was in a space that felt, going back to like that safety ness, when I felt safe, the first thing I said was, I would serve you for the rest of my days, right? And granted, during this time, I was around individuals that did not have any belief. I didn't have any. I was okay with even partnering in a relationship with somebody that didn't believe in God because I didn't believe, right? But in that moment, right? In that moment, I could have said anything like, I'm glad I didn't get killed. I'm glad this didn't happen. But the first thing on my hands and my feet crying in a police station, and the first thing I said that, I know you're real, and I will serve you for the rest of my life, right? And I don't know why. That could have been a catchphrase. That could have been a moment of just awareness. I'm just happy to be alive, so there got to be a God, right? You know. But going back to almost the morale of things, right? Going back to the first thing, what was instilled in me, right, was keeping my word, right? Was keeping my word. And so once I got to a space of like, let me move from here to there, I then began to recultivate my own relationship and whatever that relationship is with God. And it started first with just me testing the waters. I was going to mass again, right? I started getting counseling through the Catholic Church, dealing with the trauma of what happened behind me almost being killed, right? And from that point, I was just like, yeah, I still didn't have faith, right? I literally needed a sign for God to increase my faith, because I know that I was walking into like, oh, I love you, I thank you for this life, but I was still angry, right? I was still torn. I was still performative, if that makes sense.
It does.
Right?
A lot of us perform.
I was performative. I was like, I'm so happy, God, let me drink the wine. It's Sunday. You know, mass, you still get wine, right? But it was not until I was in a moment where I went to, and I was on the phone with my grandmother. I never forget this. And I went to the steps. I'm walking and I'm frustrated and I'm feeling all these angst. And I happened to be on the phone with my grandmother, and I walked to the doors of the Catholic Church, right? They wasn't open. It was closed down the street from my house. And I'm just remembering this right now as I'm telling this narrative of recounting this, and I just fell to the ground. And I'm on the phone with my grandmother. She's like, baby, you okay? Because she all the way in Chicago. I was all the way in Seattle. And I'm crying. I'm like, I can't take this. You know, I can't take, God, I need you. I need your help. Yeah. Like, I need you. Like, I can't take this, right? It's too much for me. And I felt like in that moment, not when I was on my hands and my knees begging for my life, not when I ran to the police station months before that and promised God everything. I think in that moment is when I begin to build a relationship with God. That in that moment, I wasn't surrendering because of fear. I wasn't giving grace because you just saved my life. I was actually saying, I need you.
You got integrated.
Right? Like, I need you.
Yeah.
Like, this is what I need. I can't do this by myself, right? And I feel like immediately, instantaneously, like weeks after that, I packed up and I left Seattle. I moved to LA, right? And in LA, and I say this for a reason, in LA is where my relationship deepened with God, right? That's when it became intimate, right? A God that I didn't even know, a God that I didn't even have any history with, but who had history with me, right? That's, you know, I'm serious, so like, you know,
that'll preach.
And
we need to like tuck that. We have history, but I just want to, because we really do have history with God.
Yes.
Even when we think that we don't.
Yes. Like, he had history with me, and I knew it because I felt it, and that's where he grew me up spiritually at, right? And then he sent me here to heal. Right? From broken places. He brought me back to the place that broke me to make me realize that I wasn't broken at all. It was, I was being tested. If that situation would never happen here, I wouldn't have never been in a relationship with God.
Yeah.
Right? And so even things like Ratchet and Righteous was born here with 4 people on a Monday. For a whole year, right? So whether 9 people, 30 people, 10 people, 2 people, I was still showing up out of obedience, right? Out of obedience. So my relationship with God was complicated. we was in a toxic relationship because I was the toxic one in the beginning, you know? And now through counseling, through positive reinforcement,
yes.
You know,
and a praying friend,
and a praying friend, and my praying friend, like, but serious, like, for whoever even like is watching this or listening to it or whatever, I don't know what happens, listen to it, watch it, whatever. I would say that you don't have to know God for God to know you and love you enough to spare you. Right? To spare you even when you don't deserve. Like, if you ask me, if we did an accountability test and you asked me, in that moment, should I have been spared? I had everything, Ashley. I had all the money you can think about, right? I had all the wealth. I had all the access, but I was so empty, right? Without me knowing that my life was going to end, I wouldn't even know I was dead. I was walking around dead, right? The bullet that would have went in my head would have only sealed the deal.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I'm saying? But I was already dead. The spiritual me was dead, right? I wonder more times than others before I met God, before I was reintroduced to my relationship with God. Okay, is today the day I'm going to die? Until I was begging for my life. That's the only time I wanted to live. But prior to that, I was like, maybe today's the day. Man, I'm going to die from cancer. I'm going to die from this. You know, I was on edge. But I think that the God we serve, or we choose to serve, because it's our, and I'm gonna bring a little psychology in this. A humanistic psychology indicates that we make a choice, right? Bible says we make a choice, right? It's not a forced thing. The God that I choose to serve, I'm so happy to know that this God had enough compassion for me in my foolishness to still see fit for my mission not to be done. Right? So the God that had this much compassion for me is the same God I choose to pour back in through my works with other people.
Come on, Kim.
You know, that's how I feel. So like when people look at me and they say, you don't look like God can call you. And I say, and that's the beauty.
And that is the beauty.
Because I look like everything that God can call.
Yes.
I look like everything that God can use. Use me. Use my queer self. right? Use me that the church probably was saying like, no, you not the one. But God said, hey, listen, I'm keeping you here for a reason because there's going to be others that you can be an open door to connect with my grace.
Yeah, with loving kindness.
Because there's grace on this, right?
Yeah.
So my relationship with God is complicated, but simple, right? Very complicated, but simple. Even now, I'm in a storm in my life in this very moment, and I'm saying, hey, look, I understand that my relationship, because now I understand relationships. Sometimes relationships are complicated, but that doesn't mean that I leave, right? It's that part, right? I don't leave just because it got hard.
Right.
You know, didn't that mean that I wasn't invested for real? Now, I'm not talking about a domestic situation, right? Because this is not domestic. What this is sometimes we go through the storm and like, I understand that I'm not in this storm by myself, right? Because I'm partnering. I have a relationship that my heavenly partner is saying, hey, listen, I have to go through this with you so you can understand that sometimes when the storms come, I'm still on the boat.
Come on.
Right? Peter. I'm on the boat.
Water walking. But
I want you to trust that if you get off and I say, Cam, yo, walk, I got you. I don't know how to swim. So I'm like, Peter, I'm like, Simon, yo, I don't know how to swim. Yeah. Do you have me? Right? And God is saying, hey, listen, this is not a storm because the boat haven't even rocked. I'm asleep because I'm trusting you to trust me. Right? And so that's what my relationship is like and how I built this relationship with God. I think that God in this season of my life is saying, I'm trusting you to trust me.
I love that.
Right?
I love that.
Yeah.
I don't have anything to add to that.
Okay, you ready for your second question? I'm ready for you on this one. Okay. What does real love look and feel like to you? Real love.
Real love. That's a great question. You stumped me. Because it's something that I'm learning, like what real love actually is. In my upbringing, in my adolescence, I've had to learn what love is not. I realized due to my upbringing, people know my story, watched the Unbecoming series or listened to it, watched it, listened to it, whatever it is. I'm coming out of performative love. I thought that what love was is that I have to give something in order to be accepted and seen. And what I'm learning in God's love, like genuine, like with loving kindness have I drawn me. And the question is, what does real love look like? It's accepting me as I am. With literally genuine, with my spots, with my blots, like with my fears, with my imperfections, with the things that I think that are the things that I feel that are so like the most insignificant part of me. Like God's like, no, that is the thing that I think is the most precious about you. And what I think love is, it's state the question because I want to make sure I'm answering it correctly.
My question is, what does real love look and feel like to you? What does it look and feel like to you?
I think it looks like us. I think it is us. Like the embodiment of love. Like I genuinely say, like, I'm the type of person that when I see people, and we can take it out of like what I just stated, like when I see people, I have a love for people that I can't even explain. Like perfect strangers. Perfect strangers. And I think that's the way that God sees us. Before your incident occurred, before the foundations of the world, like God had already formed. That means that I was already in the making and in the integration process of what it was supposed to be. And I hope that I'm answering your question. Like the way that I see people, it's an automatic, genuine care. There's an automatic love, like a concern about someone else's well-being. How are they processing and integrating through life? How are we helping people transcend to the next phase of life? And I think it's a genuine care about another person, their soul, their mind, who they are.
I can understand that because, as you said, we met through Black Joy Choir, right? And I didn't know anyone in the Bay, right? But I came in like 3 rehearsals in because I was still in Chicago when it came across my Instagram. And every time I came in, you greeted me, right? And I didn't know if that was the right place for me to be in that space, right? Because I was going through a season of living here, not knowing anyone, wanting to move home, not understanding why God sent me back to a place that almost took me out, right? But I think that when you say that it looks like love and kindness to you, I think that you exude that in that moment. For me, I can't speak for anyone else, right? But I know your kindness in that moment what resonated with me still staying in that room. Right? Really.
I don't think you ever told me that.
I shouldn't have to tell you that. I shouldn't have to tell you that, right? You don't need to know everything.
Yes, I do.
You don't need to know everything.
Yes, I do.
But it did, right? That was the truth. And so, like, to me, I was just a fly on the wall in the back, and I'll still come in. But every time after that, just the same consistency, right? No one else even say hello to me.
That acknowledgement.
That acknowledgement, right? And I think that, like, with you, I think what you probably miss that love inside of you comes up as acknowledgement sometimes for others.
So I wouldn't say I agree with that, because I think that's the thing that I felt like I missed in my adolescence and growing up with certain things that did transpire. I didn't feel seen, and I didn't feel heard, and I didn't feel acknowledged.
Yeah.
And I realized the love that I give is what I feel like I lack. Now, do I believe that I was loved? Absolutely. I believe that I was, but there were certain things that transpired that was giving me like the reverberate. It's like the opposite of like, that's not what love is.
Yeah.
And so I've had to unlearn, but I also realized the way that I love is what I feel like I lacked. And so the thing is, I really want to give people what I know that I needed, but now I'm learning how not to overfunction in those ways, because sometimes it could drown out people. Like, because when I pour heavy, and it's thick, and it's a lot of good love in there, but then also learning how to ration that out. But love, it for me is like, it's acknowledging. So thank you, because I did that little part that you never told me.
You don't have to know everything, guys.
I'm working on not being a know-it-all. I do like to be in the know, though. I do. So what's the difference? Oh, this is what I want you to answer, because that was another question. Let me go back before I go forward. So from a neurological perspective, and you kind of mentioned or kind of hinted at this at the beginning of the conversation, but from a neurological perspective, what actually happens in the brain when someone integrates a life experience instead of suppressing it?
Wow. Ooh, sheesh. Well, actually, the frontal lobe holds a lot of things, right? It's the foundation for our emotions, our motivations, right? Our responses, and that's the reason why when they say your brain is not fully developed until you're 25, right?
Yeah.
What they're actually saying is that frontal portion of your lobe, that's logic and decision making, is not completely expanded and developed for making decisions, right? Our decisions making is not expanded until a specific age. I think after the pandemic, I would say 45.
So I got some time to go.
We got some time to go. You have some time to go.
Man.
But
I ain't grown yet.
Not just yet. Your frontal lobe is not grown yet. But as a neuropsychologist, right, understanding that I have a lot of grace for people because...
Yes, you do.
I do. I have a lot of grace for people because, like most things, like if you walked into a door and your arm was in a sling, I'm going to hold the door for you, right? Because I can see that your arm is hurt and it's going to be challenging for you to get the door, or your leg, right? I'm going to be, let me get this for you. What we can't see is the trauma in the brain, right? What we can't see is the hurt that causes people to respond and react in a specific way. And so, because there's no app for this yet until I design it, right? There's no app for this for me to walk up to you like, oh, Ash is at 30% today. Let me not test her, right? Like, there's no app for this. I have to go off of your verbals. And oftentimes our verbalizations don't match what our internal is happening, right? So when we're looking at like the trauma, when we're looking at like, just think about it. If you're 38 years old and you had trauma since 6, you have 20 plus years of trauma that you've been holding in, right? And so how do that come out? Sometimes for us, it comes out in praise.
Mm-hmm.
If we learn how to allocate that in those ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it comes out in anger, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it comes out in substance.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it comes out in sex,
Mm-hmm.
right? You know, you have all these things, and so like when I'm interacting with individuals, right? We're talking about this brain, like had this behavior, what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
I recognize that it's not them,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't blame them. This is not giving anyone an excuse,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I don't blame them
Yeah.
for what they don't have,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Because Sigmund Freud, who we all
Mm-hmm.
know and love,
Mm-hmm.
he gave everybody cocaine, right? We all love Sigmund, right? Sigmund Freud would say from the age of 5,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
then you're fixed.
Yeah.
You know, Erickson is going to come on and say, no, it's other different transitional. Carl Jung is going to say, no,
Mm-hmm.
the personality is shaped by the mask and all of these things, right? But the peace in us, the God in us should say, hey, listen, let me have more compassion for this person, because even though I can't see what's going on, I can feel that it's something different,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so when I think about like trauma,
Mm-hmm.
when I think about like just on a surface level, like, and I mean the surface level, because everybody not friends with me, and I'm not friends with everyone.
Say that again.
I'm just being serious, and I'm learning how to separate my friend groups too. Yeah, okay, you know, but I literally take people not for what they show me, but how they heart show up, right? Because the actions the actions are that impulse, and that frontal lobe is. That lacks sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, that lacks sometimes. So I look what their heart posture is saying, you know, not the words. Anybody can say anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we've learned so much with personality disorder. We can say like, now we say narcissistic, right? Everybody narcissistic.
They use that.
Everybody is such a catchword. Like,
it's
used
so loosely.
Narcissistic. I'm like, do y'all know what that means? That person's not narcissistic. Maybe they have antisocial personality disorder. Maybe there's some histrionic disorder that's happening right there, but that's not narcissism, right? That's not what that is. But because we use that so loosely, right? We think like everything is narcissism, but sometimes it's just trauma and hurt masked as a guild, right? Let me hurt you before you hurt me.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you're gonna hurt me, but I gotta hurt you first, right? Because that's how I've been navigating to keep myself safe, right? So with me, I'm hoping that answered your question correctly. With me, I try not to look at people for who they are, but as who their heart shows up as, right? Yeah. Because we all have something, right? We all have something, but that frontal lobe holds so much, and we don't talk about that, right? In our Black communities, we're not like, hey, we like, oh, we got trauma, but we're not explaining what trauma is, right? Yeah. Trauma is not just, oh, I experienced this and it's my PTSD, and like, no. What you have held all of this in, right? And just like with anything else, it has to go somewhere. It's like the winding up of the Jack in the Box, right? It's got to pop out, right? So our popping out sometimes looking like popping off, right? And our popping off oftentimes ruin professional relationships, personal relationships, friendships, romantic relationships, any type of ship, right? Our God ships, right? You know, so I try to do my best, right? As I'm maturing in my maturation stages of my life, I try to not look at the person, but look at the heart. And I know one person like, how could you look at a person's heart? Because your heart shows up before your words do. This is true. Well, the word says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth actually speaks. And in most cases, if we are listening, a lot of hearts are talking. And if we're observing and hearing correctly, that determines where my presence remains or where it dissipates. That part. So that's why my circle is small, right? My circle is small. I listen. A lot of people surround me, but a lot of people don't know me, right? I don't think I know you. I mean, I'm learning. My circle is small. Again, I told you stuck with me for life. I don't. That whole forever thing just. I don't understand if you don't know what forever is. Forever, ever, right? But yeah, I think that we need to be educated more on the growth of our brain.
That's so good though.
Right? The growth of our brain, because the growth of our brain even has an impact on how we worship.
Okay, like let's go there.
Okay.
Because I have a big audience of people from like churchy to like, I don't know nothing about the word, but I love God, or I don't know this God that you split.
Right. So think about this. Think about this. We're conditioned early on.
Yes, we are.
Right? So we're storing that somewhere in our memory, right? This is the reason why most people that probably was 6, 7, 8 years old when they stepped a foot in a church and felt some type of hurt, right? Felt some type of abandonment. They keep that. They hold in that, right? So it determines how we even show up with God, right? Based off of experiences that we've been conditioned to believe, right? So that's the reason why, even if it's like churchy individuals, sometimes that comes off as performative because they have been conditioned to believe this is how I worship, right? But what's stored in our brain is really how God kind of conditions us a different way. I don't know that life, right? So I can come really authentically, and sometimes my language, it's not religious, right? My language is authentic though.
It is authentic to
It's authentic to who God has created me to be, right? So I'm not in my head so much. That's what I mean, that even in your mind, in your frontal lobe, your praise is connected to it, right? Because I don't have to look and say, wait a minute, would God want me to do this? I show up and I say, God, I love you for allowing me to do this, right? I'm not in here so much, right? But because we condition, just think about it. I tell people this all the time. My 4-year-old niece, it wasn't until she started going to school did she want to use a different bathroom in the house. Right? Because in school, the boys line up and the girls line up, and they go to separate restrooms.
I get that, yeah.
Right? I'm just going back to the conditioning, right?
I'm following.
So when I first came to the house, she's like, Baba, no, you can't use that bathroom. That's for the boys. That's for the boys. I said, girl, I gotta pee. Okay? Somebody's in the other bathroom. Ain't no signs on this door, right? But it's the same thing with our praise. Sometimes it's just stored. So it's conditioning. So even in our frontal lobe, we have a stored up praise opposed to being vulnerable to God. Like, look, I am ratchet, but I'm righteous, right? Use me. Make me vulnerable. I ain't know nothing about crying on my face. You didn't tell me about that. God just slays me.
I think I did.
Did you? Then I stored your information and now I'm being slayed and I don't like it.
I think I told you about laying prostrate. You kind of gave me this look like, what does prostrate mean? I'm like, you lay on your belly, your face before
I'm
God.
Just there, like, I'm crying in the bed like this. I'm crying in the bed like this. It's backward posturing then, right? But what I'm saying is I didn't, it's nothing that's been instilled in me for that.
Right? I think I've already screamed. That's so funny.
But it is, why? What's happening? I thought it was an exorcist happening.
Oh my God.
I thought
the demons were probably being cleared out though too. But it's so true though, because until we get to this place of vulnerability,
right,
where I've shared this countless times on my platform, but it was during the pandemic, and everyone was going through something, and I'll never forget, I was listening to this message by Sarah Jakes. We were both we listened to her. I wouldn't say we're fans, but we listened.
I honor her word.
We honor what God gives her as a vessel. And I'll never forget, I forget the title of the message, but like 2.5 seconds in, she was like, some of you are struggling with your vulnerability with God. And you're consciously, I knew back then, because I've studied psychology too, but I knew back then, I was like, okay, God, I have a mental block why is it that I could tell everybody else about what pissed me off, what makes me happy, what makes me sad, how I feel about love, what I don't feel about love, what I know about these things that I can't tell you.
Right. And
I had to think, like, there are obvious times in our adolescence where we didn't feel or think, or it was not safe enough to go to our parents to say, I have something to confess.
Yeah.
And I had to learn that God is a strong tower. He is my refuge. Like, he is my strength. Like, outside of my natural father, he is my Abba. Like, the same breath that he breathed into Adam's nostrils is the same breath that we are inhaling right now. The breath that I breathed that was brought, but I couldn't exhaust myself before him. And once I got to that place of like, I heard her message and I was like, nah, I'm cool. But I'll never forget the moment where I took a deep breath and I was like, God, I am struggling with trust.
Yeah.
And because of this, and I started, once I got to the place where I could name things about this and that and that and this and that and them and that and me, not just others, but myself, that relationship changed and that suppression was removed. So when I do worship, because those that worship God should worship him in spirit and in truth. What is the truth? Your true self. We are bringing our whole selves to God.
Right.
And so when I go to worship, there is nothing from my past that is hindering me that says that, God, I can't tell you about the struggle, the struggles or the troubles of today or the things that I'm facing now, because the same God back then is the same day today. And so I'm able to have a conversation with my Heavenly Father, whether I am laying in bed or sitting on the couch or driving to my car or on the phone, like it does not matter. I have the flexibility. I have the comfortability because I understand the things that have happened. Those are the things that the enemy was hoping would take me out, that I would not allow myself to be in relationship and steward that relationship with my Heavenly Father. So I think it's so important in what you teach and what you have taken the time to study, and then to expound on that, like how does like neuroscience compare with Christianity?
And usually we don't. Right.
And usually we want to keep those things separate, and it's not hocus pocus. Like it's the knowledge of what and the science of what God has created within us. Like we need to be good hearers and doers of his word and pair everything. God is the creator of all things.
Yes. In all spaces.
In all spaces.
But, and I'm happy that you said that, because I want to like just weigh in a little bit, because I know that this is typical the thing, right? The ideology is the more educated you get, the less connection you have with God.
I think it's the closer I get with my education.
No, I know, but what I'm saying in science, right? As a scientist, right? As a scientist, that's the reason why I was surrounded by so many people that was shunned that I did have my faith in God, right? Because it's like, well, the universe created this, or like this is science, right? Explain this, right? You know, and this is not to knock anyone's beliefs, but it is just like that in higher ed, right? It's like that in education, right? It's like, well, the closer you get to this pinnacle, the less likely, if we're doing a correlation, right? The less likely it is for you to have a relationship with God, right? Or religion, or, you know, so when you talk about that, there is a full circle with God and the creator of everything, right? That message get lost, right? And so I think that what's beautiful is that when I walk into the room, right? When I walk into the room, even if it's in my classroom, right? And I walk into the room and people are like, I love your energy, right? That's my introduction to say, it's the God that's in me, right? You know, that's the discernment that's on me, right? That's the divinity that's surrounding me, right? But I can't take my platform about God and how good God is into the classroom. You kind of get what I'm saying? And I know it's two separate things, and that's my profession and this is my belief, and I'm not trying to intertwine the two, but I think there's two can be the same. Right?
That's my new, like, two things can be true.
Two things can be true,
but
like
I'm
you said.
what I believe.
Exactly. but the two things are true, right? The energy that other people see on me, the light, even in my darkest moments, people still see light, and I be confused. I'm like, how? You don't know what I'm going through. How could you still see light on me, right?
Because greater is he that is within
me than is in the world.
That is in the world.
I get that, right? Yeah. I get that, but I'm saying it's like that light that people are so attracted to is not me. It's what's on me. Yeah. It's the God that's on me. It's the God that's in me. And I recognize that, right? Like, you know, because it also attracts the wrong things, right? I'm aware of that too, right? I understand now that negative energy is so attracted to me, right? They love it. I love whatever this energy is, but the reality is when they get to know what the energy is, they like, oh,
that's the thing that's gonna cause me to change.
Right.
That's the thing that's gonna cause me to do introspection.
Right. Yeah, I don't want that. I don't want that. So yeah, I think that's a beautiful way that you put it, that like, you know, God is the creator of all things. And
read Genesis.
Yeah.
God spoke. And so that's the other thing about, even in the world that we want to create, like for ourselves, and the whatever season we may be in, as we're talking about this being an integration series, like we've kind of like not been all over the map, but like it's hit a lot of different things in the ping pong here. But the reality is we have to speak what it is that we want to see come to fruition for our lives. Yeah.
We
do.
And that's hard though. I love that you say that, Ashley, but sometimes it's hard going back to the mind. Right? Going back to the brain. Sometimes it's hard to conceptualize in our brain that all we have to do is have faith and speak it, right? Because we've been conditioned, right? That we're not deserving of it, right? We've been conditioned that like, why would God bless me?
Why wouldn't he?
No, I'm just saying this is often my struggle, and I feel like my relationship with God grows, right? But it's still that conditioning in that frontal lobe that has you doubting, right? That has you, and I know we, if you the religious organization, you're like, that's the enemy that's making you doubt. Like sometimes the enemy is yourself.
No, absolutely.
Right? Sometimes the enemy is your thinking that has been weaponized against you because you feel like you have disappointed. Like you go back to like, well, God is Abba, right? That's your father, right? And sometimes when you feel like you the wayward kid, right? That you disappointed your father, that you disappointed your mother, like you're afraid to approach them, right? Or you feel undeserving, right?
Yeah.
And so you hold that in your head, and now you're doing things to move around the grace, right? You're doing things to move around the favor because you believe that you're undeserving of that favor, right? You believe that you're undeserving of that faith, right? You undeserving of that forgiveness, right? But what I'm learning is that like even in my doubt, I'm still speaking it and decreeing it like I own it, because eventually this, right? This is gonna shift and change, because if I'm speaking to the giant, right? You know, as a non-believer initially, right? I always loved David, right? And I will read the story of David and Goliath, right? And I was like, ain't no way a rock, unless it's a boulder, can knock a giant down, right? And then I began to get to metaphor, right?
As soon as I was like, it's a metaphor. It's a metaphor.
I started to get the metaphor, right? It was the words, right? It was he believed, right? It was the slaying happened because he spoke it, right? The slaying happened when he left his daddy's house.
Confirm what I said.
Right now, yeah. I'm saying the slaying happened when he left his daddy's house, when they came to get everybody else, and he was like, yo, I'm here. Like, I can beat this thing, right?
And it wasn't the first thing that he had ever conquered, though, either.
No.
Lions, tigers, and bears, and now we got giants.
Yeah.
It's nothing.
Right, it's nothing.
It's nothing.
But it was the belief, right? It was the belief. It was the leaving. It was the obedience. It was timing. It was leaving exactly where he was supposed to leave. If he would have left earlier, he wouldn't have been able to even meet the giant. The giant wouldn't even been there, right? So it's like all of these things that's happening. And I think about the giants in my life. It's the timing. It's the belief. It's me leaving when I'm supposed to leave. It's me being obedient. It's the, all the things, because I can miss the giant and have the rock if it ain't my time. I'm just saying, it's the truth. It's the truth. But if on divine timing, I'm going to confront that giant in due time, in God's math, to make sure, like you said when we first started this conversation, not just hitting them and knocking them out. LJ, right? LJ was
JL.
it? JL,
no,
remember?
She put a nail through it.
Right. But I'm saying, not just to knock them out, but when they down, to take them out. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so I think, like, with me, I was looking so much at just knocking it down. But that's why the giants kept getting back up. I forgot the slaying part.
You gotta slay.
I forgot the slaying part. You know?
Bruised heels, still crushed. serpent's head. You got to take the head.
I got to take it. Take it to God. Hey, look. Memento. Right here. Put it up there. With them lions and tigers and bears.
Did you have another question for me or no?
Do I?
Because if not, I'm going to have you close out with words to live by.
No, I don't have another question.
You don't have another?
No.
You did have another question, didn't you?
I do, but... Yeah, I do.
Okay.
This a good one.
All right.
This is the one I was going to start with. I decided to end with it.
All right.
Is there any hurt that you carry secretly, and how does it show up in different spaces?
Is there any hurt
that you secretly carry, and how does it show up? Like, because it's a secret, right? How does it show up in different spaces?
Like a secret to me or secret to others?
A secret to others.
Ooh. Is there a secret hurt? A secret hurt?
Like, is there any secret hurt that you carry? Is there any hurt you carry secretly, but it shows up in different spaces?
Great question.
I put thought into my questions. You put thought into your questions. I was like, she gonna hit me, so I can't have these cute, true or false questions.
I would want to say at this point in time, secret hurt that's known to me but not known by others. That's right. The way I hear it.
But then it shows up. They don't know that it's hurt, but it shows up in different spaces.
I would say yes, because I'm in a phase where I'm integrating and I'm back in places and spaces where I don't necessarily, I wouldn't say I don't want to be, it's not comfortable. It's not comfortable.
Yeah.
And I like to lead with honesty and transparency. And I'm in spaces and places now where I'm back now, like in workspaces where I'm like, God, you're healing me. And like in certain regards. And it's now a much more healthier, like God has shown me like these environments can be conducive again. And God is like showing me the reinforcement within that, like safety work environment. Because psychological safety in general in any place and space is so important.
Yes.
So my psychological safety, if it's at threat, baby, it's like my I'm a big energy, but like my energy gonna tell you. So yeah, I can say like there's secret offenses that like things that have people wounded me and I've never said anything. Yeah. There's places that I'm showing up now where I'm just more on guard. But here's the thing within this, I wouldn't say it's known to me, known by God, and I want people to be aware. But I'm also waiting on God to tell me this is the time to now share it. Because here's the thing, while I have done the work and while I'm still working and I'm aware of things, just because I'm ready doesn't mean that they are. And just because they're ready doesn't mean that I am.
Amen.
And so within wisdom says, you know what? Conceal it. Hold it. And within those vulnerabilities and that relationship with Abba, Father, God, the Holy Spirit, when I lean into him, there may be some secret things that I have to hold in my heart. And old Ashley would have been like, I'm going to tell you exactly how I feel. Because you need to know. And then wisdom says, they're not there yet. And wisdom says, like, you also, while you're ready to tell somebody about them, you gotta be open to the fact that they have an experience about you. And are you mature enough to hear what their secret things are as well?
Fire. I love that. I love that. That's real.
Answer the question?
You answered the question. That was real. That was real.
Secret things, but with wisdom.
Secret things, but with wisdom.
Secret things, but with wisdom. And I've learned, like, man, as much as I may be ready for something, that thing has to be ready for me too.
That's real.
That's just really real. I may really desire, here's the thing, marriage one day will happen. And even in this season, there are things that God is showing me about my temperament, that God is showing me about my capacity, that God is showing me, like, where you may be ready. Like, no, if this never would have happened, you never would have had the ability to heal. And so the secret things that God is revealing in this season of life, I'm like, man, that could have ruined a relationship. It could have like severed a whole tie. And now I'm like, man, God, thank you for the secret things in the secret place, which is in fasting, in prayer, where God is revealing those things. And I'm like, man, thank you, God, for covering me in that.
Yeah.
So while I'm looking, I don't know if I'm butchering your question, but this is how it's come to me. Like within those secret things that God's entrusting me to carry.
Yeah.
Because it's like, man, well, why didn't you just tell me? I'm like, you got to be ready, and I got to be prepared. And while you're being prepared, I may not be ready. Like, I don't know, but I think it's just about those timings of things and those sequence of events. So yeah, there are some secret things that I'm carrying, but I would say for me, I take a lot of time to do a lot of self-reflection. Yeah. I take a lot of time to sit with myself, and I analyze, I deep analyze. I'm like thinking about like how it's gonna flow. Like, you know how people like no, the conference. And at this point, but I'm coming away from those things. And I remember even, it was probably like last year, it's like, here's the thing, as bad as I want to have this conversation with you, the Holy Spirit won't let me. Yes. Because if I do it in this flesh, I'm gonna cut you, and I want to see you bleed. But the part of me that really loves God, that has built that relationship, and I'm not doing things for, like you take the frontal lobe of my trauma, I'm doing things from the heart of how I want to be acknowledged, because that's what I believe love is. Love is patient. Love is kind. It doesn't put us under. I'm not trying to have you stitch and patch yourself up once we get done. Yeah. It's that, here's the thing, even in brokenness and even in separation of ties of relationships, I would want someone, let's just say if we decided to never be friends again, you'd be like, she did that with so much love and with so much grace that I would have even more respect, because now we have an understanding. Right. And then I can come back and be like, man, I'm so glad that I decided to wait, because I wasn't in a place mentally, emotionally, or spiritually where I was mature enough to really receive and hear how God wanted me to have that conversation, how God wanted me to walk through that scenario and situation. Yeah. And like there's some things like, you may not speak to certain people. It's like, if it's not a genuine hello, why are we doing it? Yeah. Why are we doing it?
Yeah. Why are we connecting like that?
Why are we connecting?
Show
like
up with
that?
the heart.
Show up with the heart. I hope that.
No, I did. Yeah.
I'm gonna let you leave us with some words to live by.
Oh wow, words to live by. Be kind to yourself and others. I mean, I say that every Monday, but I mean it. I close out my class lectures like that because I mean it, right? I think that we're missing the kindness to others because we don't know how to be kind to ourselves, right? We don't know how to be graceful with ourselves, take time for ourselves. Like you said, like I take this time and I situate this out, but we need to do that with kindness, right? Let me love on me. Yeah. Right? So that I know how to love others.
Absolutely.
Right? And I would say like, that's my biggest thing in life, to make sure that I'm mindful, right? Using mindfulness to be kind. Yeah. Right? Kindness is hard. It's easy, but it's hard.
I just watched a clip about, actually my sister Candace, whose picture you were looking at, she sent me a clip by Dr. J. Barnett. And he was like, I meet a lot of nice women. He was like, but I don't meet a lot of kind people. And kindness, only reason why, because he said, and it's so true, kindness is a heart posture.
It is.
Niceness is more, to me, it's like a behavior. I'm trying to win you over.
Right.
I see something on you that I like or I want to get or whatever. Or I see the car, you're like, I'm gonna be nicer because I'm trying to hop in. I'm trying to ride.
Yeah, right.
Like, nice car, sis.
Exactly. Right.
But genuine kindness is a heart posture.
And it is. And that's why it's so hard.
Yeah.
Right? Because you can fake a lot of things.
But you can't
fake kindness.
You can't.
And that's our last word.
That's our last. Don't fake kindness.
Don't fake kindness.
Work on the posture of your heart.
Let your heart show up first.
Yes. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you
for being a part of this moment.
Yeah.
For sharing your
wisdom.
Monumental.
It's a monumental moment.
It is.
I can see it blessing others everywhere.
Absolutely. I'm so humbled, so grateful, thankful for your knowledge, the tools that you gave us, frontal lobe, the integration. I'm so glad that you allowed yourself to be mended, to be kneaded like dough or the potter's wheel. And I'm glad that whatever that moment that led you back to Christ, I'm going to tell you, it didn't have to take that, but that maybe is your path for the souls and the lives that you're meant to bring back to Him.
Yeah.
And so with that, I want to continue to applaud you. You know, I'm supporting you
Thank you, sis.
in any way, in any space, at any time. And I love you.
I love you too.
Since it's forever. Like,
it's forever. Forever.
Okay, forever.
Forever.
Thank y'all for tuning in, and stay tuned for what's next. This was a They Speak moment. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.